G'day fellas. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the unique military units for the United States. Now while I briefly touched on this on the very first video I did on the United States, we haven't really taken an in-depth look at the United States military, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. I can appreciate for you guys that it is quite a long video, but unfortunately we've got a lot to go through, so I'll need you guys to stick tight. So to start off, we're going to look at all the military that is available in the Second Age. So we're just going to drop down all of our military buildings just so you can see exactly what we've got right here. Now we've got the game paused as well, just because otherwise, as you know, the opponent will just go ham. So we've got 2 units that are available to us at the barracks and 1 unit that's available to us at the stable. We've got the Hussar, which I'm sure you will all be familiar with. It's just your standard Hussar, nothing too crazy. And then we've got the State Militia and the regular. So take a look at the cost of the State Militia: 50 food, 35 wood. So it says skirmisher with low range and sacrifices attack for hit points, gains additional hit points in groups. I love this unit. I think this unit is amazing. And so basically think of this as like your Strelette. Okay, it's got quite a short range. Let's take a look at it. So it's got 13 range. Now, if you look at the way that it volleys kind of like a Strelette as well, in that it's quite, you know, it's instant. It's not like a Seton bow or anything. It doesn't need to wind up. It's got a rifle. Have a look at the stats on it. So it's got the 1.5 times against heavy infantry. But this guy can definitely go toe-to-toe. Now, he's got a lot of upgrade cards as well. We'll talk about that. The next unit is the regular. So the regular is like the musketeer. You can basically just think of it as a normal musketeer. It's got the same health. I think it's got slightly more attack, but it's got extra range. So it's got 14 range instead of having 12 range. So I noticed that when Carolian... Oh no, don't kill our friend over here. I noticed that when Carolians were nerfed and they had only 10 range, when people were using musketeers against me, I was being kited. So you might not think 2 range is a lot, but in the early game especially, 2 range is a huge amount. So that's 60 food and 50 coin. So quite expensive when you think about it. Like an Ashigaru's 80 food, 40 coin, a normal musketeer 75 food, 25 coin. So it's a little bit in the middle, but it's definitely more expensive than a normal musketeer. Now, in the Second Age, you're able to actually access both of their Age 3 units. They have Fortress Age units, the Sharpshooter and the Carbine Cavalry. So I'll show you how you can do that. So if we go into the deck, so I prepared a deck here. All right, so in the deck, so essentially you've got an advanced arsenal shipment, and you've also got a long rifle shipment. So the long rifle, we can have a look here. It increases the range by the State Militia and the Minutemen by 4, but it also enables the Sharpshooter to be trained in the Commerce Age. So if we come back in, you'll see that the Sharpshooter is now available to be trained. Our opponent has now reached the Second Age, so we've got to keep a watch for him. But you can see the Sharpshooter and the stats compared to, say, the State Militia, which has got significantly higher hit points, base of 120 versus a base of 95, but a much longer range on these bad boys. Also, as they go up ages, they also increase in range. And then for the Carbine Cavalry, that's a little bit different. So for the Carbine Cavalry, you've actually got to fork out quite a bit. So the long rifles upgrade is for free, whereas Carbine Cavalry, you've got to send Lee's Legions. So it ships 9 Carbine Cavalry for the cost of 500 wood, 500 food, but then it enables them to be trained after. So from there on in, you can then train it. So if we send it, there you can see, now I've got 9 Carbine Cavalry, and I can also train them in the whatchamacallit, in the stable. So if you do want to play in like a team game and you want to go ranged cavalry in the Second Age, definitely a viable option with going Lee's Legion. We can take a look at the way that these units shoot. So I'm just going to delete everything in here. I want to show you just how the Carbine Cavalry shoots. So it's got 2 separate shots. 1, 2, hold on. I'm going to delete all these guys. We'll delete everything. We'll just focus on this. So you see the 2 shots it's got here ranged. If we watch the health, so that it goes down with 2 increments. So you can time it. Now, they've got a little bit longer range at the moment. I think they've only got a range of 12. I think when we age up, they might go up to 14. Now we've got some leather cannons in. God, this guy's such a lamer. But, yeah, so this unit here, just getting absolutely shreked. It's got the double shot, so the best way to time it is like, so you can see it's got quite a high rate of fire as well. I think it's 2.5 compared to a Dragoon, which is like the standard 3. Oh, he's getting wrecked by the Croc. I should have left him. Okay, so you can build up a nice little composition here in the Second Age. You can be going Carbine Cavalry, and then like you can mix in, say like some State Militia, like let's just say 20 State Militia. That way they're giving each other 20 hit points. So a lot of people won't realize initially that they gain additional hit points the more you've got. So if you've got 20 in a group, they all get plus 20 hit points, every single one of them. If you've got 30 or plus 30, it caps at 30, but there is an upgrade. I think it's an Imperial Age upgrade, but you can make it so it's plus 50. And then, so you could be doing like that combined with this, and then also you obviously get Advanced Arsenal in the second age. The way that this works, it's called Springfield Armory. I'll just read it out for you because it is quite interesting. So it ships an Arsenal wagon. It enables the Advanced Arsenal improvements, and all of the Arsenal improvements become free, but they do take longer to research, and it is significantly longer. So much so that I actually drop down a second Arsenal most of the time. If I send this card, I'll drop down a second Arsenal because it just takes so long. But you can see that there's a lot of great upgrades in here. You've got 5 base movement speed on the State Militia, so we can get that up to 5.5. The same with the Range Cavalry Caracol for these guys. It goes up to 14. So nice and juicy. I think when we hit the third age, which we'll do right now, we'll go up with New Hampshire. That should go up. So now it's up to a base of 15. I'm curious whether that goes up. Yeah, okay. So it adds +1 range. So both of these units add +1 range. So I'm assuming if we make our sharpshooters, they've got 21 range now. So they had 20 in age 3. So we've gone over the age 3 units as well. You've got the regulars here. So we might drop down an artillery foundry. We'll take a look at the artillery that is available. So you've got 2 weapons. The first one is the very famous Gatling gun and the culverin, which you will all be very familiar with. Now, just an important thing to note with the interaction between these 2 units, okay? A culverin does 160 damage to artillery. A Gatling gun, 150 health. They get 1 shot, okay? But you can mitigate this. If you get the professional gunners, so 10% hit point increase, ready to fire. 165, you're fine. So now you don't get 1 shot. So keep in mind, all right, if you're going to be playing, make sure you've got your Advanced Arsenal card, incredibly important, or not Advanced Arsenal, I apologize, the Springfield Armory. And so now moving forward, so we'll find our Explorer. We're going to drop down a fort. Oh gosh. Oh no. He just got absolutely destroyed. I'm sorry, little crocodile. So we're going to drop down a fort. Now, forts for America are incredibly important. Incredibly important. We'll talk a little bit more about why they're so important. So now that we've got those out of the way, we'll go into our home city. So there's some very special home city cards for the United States. So if you don't like the Carbine Cavalry, that's not a problem at all. You know why? Because you can actually make Dragoons. So if you send Armand's Legion, they're coming out here. Check out the stats on these bad boys. 200 plus 60. So these are like consulate Dragoons, okay? But you can actually train them. But you can't train them from your stables. Okay, it's not available in the stable, only available in the fort, and it takes a long time to build. It doesn't take very long for me to build because I've got cheats on, if you want, so you can drop down a fort, you can drop down 2 forts. I think you can also put this inspiring flag near the fort, and it will actually make it train faster. I'm not sure, I'd have to double check that. It might just be build faster. Actually, you know what we can do? We can put the inspiring flag down, and we can have a look at what it does, because it's an incredibly important ability. So here we go. So if you click on it, there we go. So it increases attack to all damage, or all units and all buildings by 10%. Work rate for military buildings, there you go, by 25%. So if you manage to build a fort over here, all right, and it's affected, it's in the radius of this flag, and you're holding this flag down, it's going to have a higher production rate, and it will mean that you can get more Dragoons out, because otherwise you're only going to be able to get 5 out at a time. Now, the same thing goes for the other unit in the Fortress Age that you can do. So that's Pulaski's Legion, and that's the Kapsa Ulan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize to all, or it's probably the Zapka. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. All my German viewers are all going to be upset at me, but these are also consulate Ulans, okay? So you can mix these in. Let's say you've got some Hussars out, you know, veteran Hussars, you're getting the upgrade, you've got all the upgrades. You can mix these in. So maybe you want to tank with your veteran Hussars, and then you've got your Kapsa Ulans on the back line. Now, I believe that these shadow upgrades, so what we're going to do, shadow upgrade is where things upgrade automatically. So you don't have to research the upgrade for them. They will automatically go up. So let's take a look. We've got the 260 HP Dragoon. We've got the 266 HP Ulan. Let's have a look and see. So we're going to go up with, we're going to go up with South Carolina. 260 up to 320, 266 up to 323. They automatically upgrade 100%. So you see this unit here? I've got to pay 600 wood, 600 food. Sorry, 600 wood, 600 coin. That's a very funny looking food. To upgrade this unit, whereas I don't have to do that with my Dragoons. But keep in mind, with my Dragoons, as I said, you can only make them out of forts. Now, obviously, you can ship forts from the home city. You can build a fort with your Explorer. Sorry, with your with your hero. I don't think this one's an explorer. I think he is a he's a general. Apologies, he's a general. That's his class. So with that, now once you've reached the 4th age, you've got a whole bunch more upgrades, and another interesting unit that will come about is this one. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, it is this one, Marion's Diversions. Okay, so you are able to train a Quaker Gun. Now, you might be going, Drongo, what's a Quaker Gun? A Quaker Gun is any artillery you want it to be, baby. If you want it to be a culverin, it can be a culverin. If you want it to be a Gatling gun, it can be a Gatling gun. If you want it to be a mortar, it can be a mortar. It can literally be anything. But the thing is, it doesn't do any damage, okay? It's just a pretend gun. Now, I don't know what the interaction is with your opponent. If your opponent clicks on this, I don't know whether they see heavy cannon. But the idea is, so it says decoy unit which deals no damage, but can take the shape of any common artillery. Good to distract the enemy and to attract enemy fire. This is incredibly powerful. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen the very famous clip where Hydra in StarCraft 2 resigned after his opponent hallucinated a whole bunch of void rays, and he literally just said GG and just resigned straight away. They were all hallucinated. They weren't real. And it could be the exact same case here. Can you imagine you just pull out, so Quaker guns, they cost 100 wood each. They're only 1 population, and you watch, they fire, they sound exactly like a heavy cannon. I don't know why that did damage. I think it just did AOE to try and like, to try and show that to your opponent, like, it definitely doesn't do damage. Like if you do that, like you can see it's still 270, but obviously it pulled aggro, it does stuff. So your opponent is definitely going to be able to be fooled by this, but then at the same time, you know, you might want to have mortars, but you can kind of tell that they go a little bit faster than normal mortars. So I think the best thing to probably put them on is field guns, because field guns naturally move a little bit faster. So I think that's probably going to be the best. So you put them onto field guns like that, and then they're going to fire off like that. It kind of looks legit. You'd obviously want to mix real ones in here as well, but your opponent's not going to know what ones to do. Like they get a culverin, they're just going to be right-clicking over here. But yeah, I'm curious to know whether it's going to do that or not. They obviously get access to the mortar and the horse artillery as well. And so finally, we're also going to take a look at the very, very new saloon. So the saloon's received a whole bunch of upgrades, and America, or sorry, I apologize, and the United States has received a whole bunch of upgrades for it as well. Now, there are the gunslingers, the cowboys, and the owlhoots, so they've all been renamed. So you might recognize them. So we've got the Renegado here, who's been renamed to the owlhoot. We've got the cowboy, and then we've got the gunslinger. So they've all got different things, but they come with new abilities. So the general for the United States has got an ability where essentially what happens is you crack shot every, like, when it's off cooldown automatically. See how he gets down on his knee and he just hits? Look at the carbine attack. Now it's off cooldown. Now the same thing goes for these units here. So we've got buckshot, charged ability, a round of buckshot dealing area damage. Then we've got this guy over here, quick draw, rapidly fires several shots by fanning the Colt's hammer. And then we've got the cowboy, who's got automatically used when off cooldown. And then finally, we're going to be moving into what I believe is the most powerful unit for the United States. So it's going to be timed perfectly right here, and it is Washington's, no, it's Kovac's Legion. So get ready to check out the stats on these guys. You're going to be like, that's crazy. How is that fair, Drongo? 1,088 HP. They've got Magyar Hussars, and they can train more of them. They can train more of them. So if we delete all these armies, and train some Magyar Hussars, look how much, look at these. Let's compare this to like a normal Hussar, right? We'll get that guard upgrade, okay? So we've got 512 health, 45 attack. Get ready, get ready. 1,088 health, 48 attack. And you know the best part? They shadow tech. When you go Imperial, these guys shadow tech. They go Imperial. They get to like, I think it's 1,500 health is like their maximum health. It's absolutely ridiculous. But obviously their attack is lower. Now keep in mind, despite that, okay, their cost is a lot higher. So they're they're 1/3 more expensive, I think. Well, they're 50% more expensive than a Hussar. So add 60 and add 40 for each of the respective costs for them. So you've got an extra 60 food, an extra 40 coin, and an extra population, because while they are dealing, you know, the same amount of damage, they do have double the health. But I would definitely take that trade. You know, any day of the week, I'm going to be very happy for that, because with a Hussar, typically the job is to tank. And you want to be tanking as much damage as you can. So I think that's a very, very reasonable trade. Now, when it came to balance, I was a little bit concerned about this. I said, well, you know, it doesn't really seem fair that they can train them. But keep in mind, they can only train them from forts. Okay, they're not trainable from the stable. You can train Guard Hussars, but you can't train Magyar Hussars. You can only train those from forts. That's it. And then you've obviously got the Washington's Legion as well, which are the Grenadiers. Now, these guys also shadow upgrade as well. You can train them from the forts. Just keep in mind, it's only the fort. You can't train them from the artillery foundry. That's it. So if Grenadiers are your things, now they get a whole bunch of upgrades as well. So these guys have already got full upgrades. They've got the Grenadier rifles, and they've got the extra AOE from the arsenal automatically put in. So if you have a look at it, says here, so it enables the incendiary grenades, gives them an extra 2 line of sight, and gives them the mortar attack. So, you know, if Grenadiers are your thing, then definitely get in. Now, obviously, with these cards as well, they also have a cost associated with it. So I think it's 1,000 food, 1,000 wood for both of them. I'd have to double check, but it is quite expensive to get them in. But there's definitely a huge power spike that happens for the United States when you get those in. So I think that might be it for this video. No, Drongo. No, not yet. Okay, there is a card that you can send. I know that a lot of people like the leather cannons, so we're going to do something a little bit special for the leather cannon. Welcome to the French Canadians. This is the Napoleon gun. It's a mercenary leather cannon. How cool is that? It's literally a golden gun. Now, unfortunately, these guys really suck. Like, they're terrible. They're so expensive. They're 500 coin each, and they're just so bad. I did try using them. There's a couple of cards that you can get. So I think this is an age 3 card that you can get. It's paired up with the factory, so it kind of makes sense because the factory obviously is a really good card. I suspect that 90% of people are just going to be going for the factory, but it does enable it at the saloon, so you can now train Napoleon guns. I think you can probably get an upgrade or something for them. Oh, you can go Imperial and you can get an upgrade. So if we pause the game and go Imperial, so there's actually an upgrade for mercenaries and for outlaws, so you can get this card here, and then it increases all mercenary attack and hit points, so you can get like a further 50%. So if we just do that, and then where's our villagers? We'll just get a market, and we'll just sell a bunch of wood. I wonder if your opponent can gather the XP crates. That'd be pretty cool if they could. All right, and then so we can get the card for the Imperial Age, which is Hamilton's own. And now it's upgraded our Napoleon guns. So now they're actually not that terrible. These are Imperial Napoleon guns. But, I mean, you got little bombards right next to it. So, you know, are you really going to be... Which one are you going to take? The little bombard, which literally one-shots the Napoleon guns? I mean, little bombard basically one-shots everything. But there you see the Explorer going down again. But, yeah, so you do get trainable Napoleon guns as well. But really, to be honest, not a fan of them. Yeah, I don't think they're viable just because of how expensive they are. I think they're a little bit cheaper, probably could be good. Yeah, in the current state that they are, I just don't think it's worth. Get out of here, mate. So just one more thing before we do go. If you have noticed that there are 3 factory cards in my deck, do not be worried. You can only send 2 factories as the United States. If you do get the early factory card in the Fortress Age, it won't be able to be sent again in the 4th Age, so you'll only ever have 2 factories, so do not fret. In the next video, we're going to be looking at all of the Navy as well as the unique buildings. So stick around for that one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.